The emergency alarms pierced through the crystalline halls of the Galactic Council chamber, a sound that hadn't been heard in over 2,000 cycles. Alexa stood at the observation deck of the UNSC Prometheus, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface as she monitored the approaching alien vessels. They were massive, dwarfing her ship by a factor of 10. Yet they maintained a cautious distance. "Captain, we're receiving multiple hailing frequencies," Knox reported from the communications station, his voice steady despite the tension crackling through the bridge. "They seem panicked." Alexa turned to face her first officer, a slight smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. "Panicked? We're just saying hello." She gestured toward the view screen. "Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves properly." Knox hesitated for a fraction of a second before complying. The screen flickered to life, revealing a council chamber filled with beings of every conceivable shape and form. At the center stood what appeared to be the council leader, a towering crystalline entity whose surface refracted light in unsettling patterns. "Attention, unknown vessel." The entity's voice resonated through universal translators, tinged with something that sounded remarkably like fear. "You have emerged from quarantine zone Theta 9. This sector has been sealed for 3 millennia. How did you breach the barrier?" Alexa exchanged a glance with Knox before responding. "Quarantine zone? We call it Earth. Solar system designation South Re. And we didn't breach anything, we simply developed faster than light travel." A collective gasp rippled through the council chamber. Several delegates appeared to stumble backward, and one amorphous being actually dissipated momentarily before reforming. "Impossible," another council member whispered, though the translation carried clearly. "The ancients locked that system away. The species there were deemed too dangerous, too unpredictable. They were supposed to destroy themselves." Knox leaned forward in his seat, his jaw tightening. "Excuse me, you quarantined our entire planet?" The crystalline leader seemed to gather itself. "Your species demonstrated unprecedented levels of aggression, adaptability, and something the ancients called irrational determination. Your planet's history showed constant warfare, rapid technological advancement despite setbacks, and a disturbing tendency to weaponize everything you discovered." Alexa's expression hardened. "So you locked us away and hoped we'd kill ourselves off? That's your version of galactic diplomacy?" "It was mercy," another delegate cried out, a being resembling an octopus made of living metal. "The predictive models showed your species would either self-terminate or evolve beyond the aggressive phase within 10,000 cycles. We checked periodically. The barrier was supposed to be impenetrable for any civilization below tier for technology." "Well," Knox said, pulling up a datapad, "according to your metrics, we should still be at Tier 1, maybe Tier 2 at best. We've only had industrial technology for about 300 years. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over one another in dozens of languages, creating a cacophony that the translators struggled to parse. Alexa waited patiently, her arms crossed, until the crystalline leader restored order. "This is unprecedented," the leader stated flatly. "Your species bypassed for technological tiers in a fraction of the expected time frame. This confirms every fear the ancients had about your kind." Alexa stepped closer to the view screen, her presence commanding despite the vast distance between ships. "Let me tell you something about humans. Yes, we fight. Yes, we're stubborn. But we also dream, create, and persevere. You locked us away because you were afraid of what we might become. But that isolation only made us more determined to reach the stars." She gestured to Knox, who brought up a series of holographic displays showing Earth's history. Images of wars gave way to scenes of reconstruction, disaster followed by innovation, division replaced by cooperation. "We nearly destroyed ourselves a dozen times," Alexa continued. "Climate catastrophe, nuclear standoffs, pandemic plagues. But each time, we chose to survive. We chose to be better, not because some galactic council told us to, but because we decided our future was worth fighting for." Knox added, "We've been watching your broadcasts for the past 50 years. We've studied your languages, your cultures, your technologies. We came here not as conquerors, but as potential neighbors. Though I'll admit, learning we were quarantined like a disease has somewhat dampened our enthusiasm." The crystalline leader seemed to dim momentarily. Your approach was detected 17 standard time units ago. We have been in emergency session ever since, debating whether to initiate Protocol Omega, the complete sterilization of breakthrough threats. The bridge of the Prometheus went deadly silent. Alexa's hand moved almost imperceptibly toward the weapons console, but Knox caught her eye and shook his head slightly. But the leader continued, and something like wonder entered its voice. Your response has been unexpected. You hailed us peacefully. Your vessel, while advanced, carries minimal weaponry for its size. Your crew's biometric readings show fear, yes, but also hope and curiosity. Perhaps the ancients were wrong. Another delegate, this one resembling a floating jellyfish wreathed in bioluminescence, spoke up. The protocols require a tribunal, a full examination of your species, your history, your intentions. It could take cycles. Alexa smiled then, a genuine expression of warmth that seemed to transcend species barriers. Then we'll wait. We've been patient for this long. But understand this, humanity didn't break your quarantine to prove we're monsters. We broke it to prove we're worthy of joining you among the stars. Knox pulled up one final image, Earth, small and blue, suspended in the darkness of space. That's our home. For better or worse, it made us who we are. We're not asking for special treatment or immediate acceptance. We're just asking for a chance to show you that your fears, while perhaps once justified, no longer define us. The council chamber fell into contemplative silence. Finally, the crystalline leader spoke. Very well, Captain Alexa of Earth. Your vessel will be escorted to diplomatic anchorage. The tribunal shall convene. But I warn you, humanity will be judged not just on your words, but on your actions in the days to come. As the channel closed, Knox let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Well, Captain, we're either making history or ending it. Alexa gazed at the alien fleet surrounding them, her reflection ghostly in the view screen. Maybe both, Commander. Maybe both.